Hello and welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming Daily Triple, your no shit gaming news video. That's 3 news stories in one video with zero faff. Ghost of Tsushima is, at least in my opinion, one of the very best games of the year. In fact, it's one of the highest rated games of the whole generation by Metacritic user score. Despite some familiar open world trappings, the game is an excellent recreation of 13th century Japan through the lens of classic cinema. What I'm really trying to say is that Sucker Punch has done an incredible job with its brand new IP, but the studio has now gone a step further. Completely out of nowhere, Sucker Punch announced yesterday that something called Ghosts of Tsushima Legends is coming. This is a brand new 4-player cooperative multiplayer mode coming to all owners of the game for free in a few months' time. While the main game is heavily stylized, it is still grounded in reality and set in the real world, whereas this expansion will lean heavily into the mystical and fantastical mythology of Japanese folktales. The gameplay will involve a team of 2 to 4 players across 4 different classes: the Ronin, the Samurai, the Hunter, and the Assassin. Your 2-player team will advance through progressively more difficult cooperative story missions full of magical elements that require teamwork to overcome. A 4-player team can tackle a wave-based mode which features some of Tsushima's toughest enemies, including the new Oni enemy type which possesses supernatural powers. There will also be 4-player raid missions which will launch after Legends is released, which sends your team to an entirely new realm to challenge a brutal, terrifying enemy. More information is yet to be announced about class details and customization, but I'm excited to see more. Ghost of Tsushima's main game is awesome as it is, so adding more to that is always a win, even if you didn't really ask for it. Multiplayer gaming is never really my thing and I'm much more of a single-player fan, but I absolutely love a good wave-based survival mode. Taking a supernatural spin on the game's more realistic setting will also help this mode stand out on its own and offer something unique to players. The fact that it is not only free but announced without any warning is exactly what I like to see in gaming. Forget about making announcements years before the project is even coming out, just make the announcement, tell me it's coming soon, and I'll be there. This announcement is both really surprising but also totally not at the same time. Since Days Gone had a similar free challenge mode update, Horizon Zero Dawn got a hefty expansion, and Spider-Man got 3 reasonable but far too short add-ons as well as several free suits. Of course, you'll need to pay for Sony's PlayStation Plus subscription to play Legends, which always sucks, but at least it's a free content update at no additional cost to the game itself. Additional modes like this are an excellent way to keep players engaged, especially since Ghost of Tsushima is the 4th best game launch in the US for Sony in history. That's particularly impressive given that the game is a brand new IP. While The Last of Us Part 2 is an insane financial success and critics got their tongues tied while licking its arse, Ghost of Tsushima is proving to be the real triple threat. Great critical response, great financial performance, and great fan response. Needless to say, I think all this confirms that a sequel is at least on the cards now for the team over at Sucker Punch, so keep your eyes open over the next few years. Or maybe they'll return to another IP like Infamous or Sly Cooper, or possibly even another new IP. What do you think? Are you excited about more free Ghost of Tsushima content, or was the game a bit too generic open world for you? I, for one, cannot f***ing wait. And next up, Marvel's Avengers is a mixed bag, but on the whole, I did really enjoy playing it. The main reason for that was how all the characters felt unique and had their own strengths and weaknesses. One of my favourite characters from the beta was Captain America, who was only available during the linear tutorial section before his apparent demise. Despite his very brief appearance, some players seem to have accessed him for the beta's more open sections, known as War Zones, which were meant to exclusively feature Iron Man, Hulk, Black Widow, and Ms. Marvel, and no one else. This seems to have been made possible since PC players got their hands on the beta over the weekend if they pre-ordered the game. This footage comes from YouTuber Tony Bing Gaming, who shows off Cap in one of the AIM facilities as he cuts through enemies. The footage is even more buggy than the beta already was, as Cap can be seen using Iron Man's hover animation, which isn't exactly part of Cap's skill set. Speaking of Cap's skills, in addition to the gameplay sequence showing off Cap's superior hand-to-hand combat abilities, we did get a look at some of his skill trees. In the beta, only one of 3 skill trees was available to explore, the primary tree, but here we can see all 3 of Cap's available. We can see the primary, speciality, and mastery trees. These expanded skill options allow you much more control over how your version of each hero plays, and I really wish they were all present in the beta to get much more flexibility. From Cap's skill tree, we can see that his heroics, i.e. super moves, can be individually upgraded and even changed to offer a number of different effects. His movement can also be altered to add a double jump, which would massively help with his traversal. One of the game's biggest flaws, in my opinion, is that anyone who isn't Iron Man has a worse time traversing the map because he can just fly over it all while the rest have to awkwardly jump and run. Tony Bing Gaming's video also gives us a look at Cap's challenge card, which is basically a battle pass unique to each character. This reveals some of his new skins and color swaps of existing ones. I don't hate his default outfit.
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
but I definitely prefer some of these looks way more. Tony Bing Gaming has also uploaded a very similar video featuring Thor, who was also only available in the opening section of the beta. Once again, we get a look at all three of his skill paths and his challenge card. I personally really like Thor's design, especially since they fixed his hair in response to fan outcry. Now, a lot of people aren't happy with some aspects of the beta, myself included, so here's hoping they can actually take the criticism seriously and improve the game overall. There's always hope. I mean, just look at the way Star Wars Battlefront 2 and No Man's Sky handled things. Both of those games were really well supported post-launch, which helped make them the games they are today. This game will of course be supported post-launch with brand new characters and missions, many of which appear to have been leaked. Obviously, this all could be entirely wrong, but currently, as it stands, the list includes Ant-Man, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Falcon, Hawkeye, Hulkbuster, Kate Bishop, Marvel, Mockingbird, Quake, Scarlet Witch, She-Hulk, Vision, War Machine, Wasp, and the Winter Soldier. These characters were uncovered by data miners and are listed as unlockable, but take all that with the appropriate pinch of salt. If even half of these characters do end up in the game, it's certainly going to be a lot of content for fans to sink their teeth into. I doubt the game will get a huge pool of regular players, but it definitely will find its fan base, and superhero fans are about as dedicated as they come. And finally, Resident Evil 7 was a huge reinvention of the classic franchise, and while it had plenty of its own flaws, it was a pretty great survival horror game, at least in the first half before you leave the house and things start going a bit downhill. The game has been such a success, in fact, that it's officially Capcom's second highest grossing game ever. It comes in with 7.9 million units sold across all platforms, just behind Monster Hunter World's staggering 16.1 million units. Resi 7 is then followed by Resi 5, 6, and 2 Remake with 7.7, 7.6, and 7.2 million units respectively. While Resident Evil 2 Remake is doing really well as Capcom's 5th highest selling game, Resident Evil 3 Remake is way down at number 25 with just 2.7 million units. The Devil May Cry series is disappointingly low, with its highest entry being DMC 5 at number 17 with 3.7 million units. Buy Devil May Cry 5, it's really f***ing good. Yeah! Resident Evil 8, or Resident Evil Village, was revealed for next-gen consoles and is set to continue the story of 7's Ethan Winters. That game looks like even more of a departure from tradition than 7 was and seems to feature werewolves and witches, so I'm definitely excited to see what happens next. And that's it for today. If you enjoyed this no shit format, go ahead and give the video a like to give it a boost, hit subscribe and the bell if you want to stay up to date on all future installments, toss a coin to your YouTuber over at patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. That's all for today. I've been Henry Cooper. Bye for now.